This video is for my BIPOC community. I want that to be very clear. I have a lot to say. This is going to be a long video, but this is for my BIPOC community. So I have a lot to say. I'm going to put my phone down here. So I want to start off with what my morning was. I want to share my morning with y'all first. First, the last 3 weeks have been a lot. Just the internet has been a lot. I've been really trying to stay strong. I've been trying really hard to protect my emotional energy, to protect my emotional peace. I've tried really, really hard to do that. Sunday, today, my day was, today's a day for self-care. Today's a day to give myself rest. Today was supposed to be a day to just like breathe for like a little bit. And I woke up to a few messages from other people who had been supporting my recent post, who had been getting like hate messages about supporting me, who had been like just receiving all kinds of weird messages. And as my chosen father reminds me, this is what happens when you challenge white supremacy. Then I received a bunch of messages and texts that a bunch of my tweets from 2011 were coming out on Reddit. And first, I want to say, I know this was not surprising to me. I know that I have said highly problematic, highly hurtful things in the past. I am incredibly aware of that. How do you think I got to doing the work that I do today? I know that from the time I was in 6th grade to the time that I was 2015, to the time that I was about to graduate from graduate school, I like hated myself. I hated the blackness that was in me because of the racism I experienced, because of the white supremacy that I was raised in. I hated myself. And that internalized racism wasn't just to myself. That wasn't just to my blackness, right? I was trying to protect myself by being as close to whiteness because white was right, because my blackness was what I was told was wrong, because my blackness is what I was told made me ugly, made me unworthy. So I was surrounded by whiteness. I was surrounded by whiteness that was fatphobic, by whiteness that was pro-white. And that was what felt safe to me, because I thought, you know what, this is obviously unconscious, I thought if I am in with these people, then they're not gonna hurt me. Which is flawed, which was incredibly flawed. So I wasn't ever challenged on things. These were beliefs in my tweets that had been echoed by the whiteness around me that was reinforced. There was, particularly to the Indian tweets about the Indian guys, I would go to Bond Street Social all the time in Baltimore, and it was predominantly Indian guys there. And they would come up to me. I've told this story. I've said this many a times when I talk about like when I worked at Hustler Club in Baltimore and would go out to the bars, and Indian guys there were so, it was very important within their culture to date within their culture. And people would always look at me and think that I was Indian, or they would think I was Mexican. And they would come up to me, they'd hit on me. They would first ask me, like, what's my race? What's my background? And I would say, oh, I'm Black. And immediately, they wanted nothing to do with me. And they would be like, oh, sorry, okay. And would just walk away from me. And my ass was petty. My ass was living in a white supremacist, internalized racism perspective. And I said fucked up shit. It wasn't okay then. It still isn't okay now. And I think the reason, like, this is to my BIPOC community and not to the white trolls who I know are the ones going through over a decade of tweets to get to this, is that there's layers when you are a person of color. There's layers of how white supremacy has conditioned you, whether against yourself or others, that I already was processing that. I was experiencing prejudice. I was experiencing, racial preferencing. In other situations, I'm experiencing my own racism, my false sense of safetyhood around whiteness while still experiencing racism on the reg and microaggressions. And then I was also then lashing out at other people of color. And that's a dynamic that these white trolls don't care to understand. That's a dynamic that, the folks who are upset at the work that I've been doing for several years now, before I was doing it on myself, privately, but mainly since I've been doing it publicly, they're not here to learn. They're not bringing this up because they're hurt. They're bringing it up because they're upset at how now I go against white supremacy. So to my BIPOC community who is hurt by these things, I am sorry. I know that they were wrong then. I know that they are wrong now. And I sincerely hope that you do see all of the work that I do today. That if you're someone that's here on my page because of the work that you see me do today, I hope that seeing these tweets lets you know that I've done the work, that I continuously do the work. I try to hit almost every group I can. And even when I hit one group, I'm reminded, oh, well, I'm leaving out this group. And I can only do so much. I am only one person. There was so many things I wanted to say in this, and so I apologize. It is a long video. There's lots to unpack here. I know that what folks want me to feel in this is shame, is that I'm like a Hannah Brown, like I'm like a Demi, like I'm like a Rachel. Okay? And I want to be clear here that those things were wrong. Those tweets were wrong. Those tweets were hurtful. Those tweets were fucked up. And the difference that I really want, but I guess that I hope folks can see is that a major difference in that is I've been doing this work. I'm not going to come on here and be like, I'm going to do better. I've been doing better. And not just because I want to be performative, not just because I feel bad, because it's the right thing to do, because I've experienced it personally. Because I personally experienced this shit. Which is one of the only reasons why these tweets are coming out now, is because I have upset white supremacy repeatedly. I never deleted any of those tweets. I knew that all of those tweets were there. I know that I held those fatphobic perspectives. I know that I held those problematic, rude, stereotypical perspectives of other races. I knew all of that. I have educated myself. I do that work today. I know that that tweet saying it was an Indian teepee was fucking completely incorrect. And I do work. I do work to give back to the Indigenous community, to advocate for Native Americans who are still here today, and to learn and to educate myself about their culture. I do all of that. That shit has been documented. And I never deleted those things because that was my truth. I don't like deleting things. I don't like deleting things because once you put it out there, it's out there. And I don't ever want to hold myself back from being able to like learn about things, right? From being able to show that process. Whenever someone else in Bachelor comes out, always what I'm saying is share with us what you're learning. Share with us. I have shared. I continuously share. And I'm going to share here again. I kept those tweets there. I did not delete those tweets there because those were a part of my truth. And I'm not going to hide from that. That's a part of my truth then. And in 10 years, I am now here. And to those folks who do follow my work, those folks who support it, those folks who have opened themselves up and gotten uncomfortable with the things that I say, I hope that you don't think I'm perfect, and I hope you don't think that I think I'm perfect. The main reason I got into doing a bunch of this work in the first place was because I needed to process my own shit, because I needed to learn how to love myself in my Blackness. And through that process, which only existed because of white supremacy, because of that process, I then also was able to unpack that and learn to love the whole BIPOC community and to understand where that shit that I would say then was echoing the other shit that I was experiencing in my white circles. That co-signing those statements in my white circles meant that I would be safer because I would be viewed as more like them than not. And even just saying that, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. And that's the work, is unpacking all of that. That's the work that after 2011, graduating high school, going into undergrad, going into the field of psychology, I was in a relationship with a highly, highly privileged white man. And I look back at those 3 years of dating him, and I don't know who I was then, but I thought I was safe, and I was rejecting my Blackness. I talked about this in the Being Biracial series. I've talked about it a lot when people ask me about my experience with my race. And it's not an easy one. So every time I fight against white supremacy, my own racial shit is triggered. And that's a huge difference. So I'm apologizing to my BIPOC community, to the folks who feel hurt by what was said then. And I sincerely hope you know that I stand by you now, that I have done that work to unpack that, to get to where I am today, to where you would even feel hurt or even question if that was real that I said those things in the first place.